This next video is going to show you what a typical job at Thrasher Landscape may look like. This job specifically has mulch, re-edging, and pre-emergent. When they pull up to the job site, you'll see that Chris checks his green sheet to make sure that he has everything that he needs, which he also would have done before leaving the shop. He reads over the white sheet and looks at some of the details. That way he can put a visual of the property that he's now at with these words. The next thing that he'll do is go ahead and check company cam to make sure that there aren't any other visuals that he may need to look at. When on company cam, you should be able to either search for the customer you're at or find it in the nearby jobs section. He'll go ahead and pull up the customer that he's at, and as you can see here, he's got plenty of pictures to take a look at. That way he can decipher what needs to happen. The next thing they'll do is go ahead and get to work. We work in teams of 2, so the most efficient thing is for each person to perform a different task. Here Andrew is loading a wheelbarrow. Notice how he has the wheelbarrow sideways to take up the most surface area. He puts a tarp under to avoid spillage and uses his pitchfork to simply rake into the barrel. Here Chris is at the same time edging the bed that they're going to mulch. Notice how the guys are split up and how Chris is throwing his scrap into the wheelbarrow so they don't have to handle it twice. Edging can be tricky, but a little bit of practice and you'll be just fine. Notice how as Chris is edging, Andrew is already starting to mulch and go ahead and get the mulch spread out evenly in the area that they're mulching. This is the most efficient way to do this instead of both guys edging or both guys mulching at the same time. So as you can see, this area is completely mulched now. So Chris is going to go ahead and apply the pre-emergent that was listed on his green sheet. We put our pre-emergent in backpack sprayers. Pre-emergent is simply a barrier that helps keep weeds from forming and growing through the surface in the coming months. You can see Chris pumps the backpack sprayer a few times to get some pressure and applies a pretty even coat to the mulch. Around any plants, Chris will go ahead and make about a 2 or 3 foot circle around the outskirts. We don't want to spray pre-emergent directly on plants as it will wilt them and make them look bad for the coming months. Here again, you see Chris going around the outskirts of a plant and then evenly covering the mulch around. Once the job is finished and the pre-emergent has been put on, the guys will go ahead and load their tools up if they have not already done so. You'll see that the guys are each loading different things in order to make the loading process more efficient. They'll go ahead and dump their wheelbarrows back onto the bed full of their debris and trash. That way they can easily push it off at the end of their day. As Chris is going ahead and picking up things and getting the truck loaded up, you'll see Andrews coming through with the blower and blowing off all the surfaces to make sure that we leave a professional and clean look at the end of the job. This is something that needs done on every job, regardless of the circumstances. After that, they go ahead and finish loading up the truck. Once everything is cleaned up, the last thing we'll do is go knock on the door and talk to the customer. Here you'll see Chris bring the customer out and give them a walk around of the job, showing them everything that was done or performed on that job. He will in detail explain what they did and make sure that the customer is happy with the work. Once the customer is happy, then we are free to go and we will head back to shop. Once we get back to shop, the first thing you'll do is stop at the dumpster and throw out any trash that may be in the cab of the truck or in the bed of the truck. Here you'll see Andrew goes ahead and throws away his mulch bags, and then as he gets into the truck, he'll go ahead and throw away the trash that's in the cab as well, before heading down to the burn pile. The burn pile is something that will be showed to you later on during your shop tour. But as we head down to the burn pile, you'll see that Chris backs his truck all the way to the pile. We don't like to push things out away from the pile because it's just extra work to get them onto the pile later on. Sometimes it does get a little bit muddy down here, but I assure you that you can get in and out without many issues. Once they get down there and backed all the way down to the pile, you'll see that the guys will go ahead and push off the mulch and debris from their truck and then they will go ahead and blow the truck completely clean, making sure to get mulch out of all the corners and off of the dovetail. We don't like to leave any mulch or extra debris on the truck because it can cause rust much quicker. After the guys get done cleaning off the truck down at the burn pile, they will both come up and refuel the truck. We refuel at the end of every day regardless of how much fuel you used. This keeps guys from having to think about or refuel in the morning when we're in a hurry and or trying to get out of shop as quickly as possible. I will have another video that you will watch about which fuel tanks to use, how to record fuel, and anything fuel related. Once the fueling is done, Chris will go ahead and back his truck into the spot on the end. We always park as close as possible to the other trucks, and we always back in. This will make things more efficient and safer in the morning when we have guys running around. Do not leave open spaces that we could park other trucks in. Always park closely, that way we can fit as many trucks as possible in this area. The last thing that these guys will do for their day is come up to the green sheet station in the meeting room upstairs. They will sit down together, go over the green sheet, fill out the times, and make sure that everything's added up correctly and that they've listed all materials. There is a video that you've already seen on how to fill out a green sheet. This video will show you this more in depth, but for the time being, just know that this is the time of day when you do fill this out. After filling out the entire green sheet, you will see Chris head over to the completed work folder and turn his work in and then clock out.